Hello, I'm Claire Bradnock. I'm the Senior Qualified Teacher of Children with a Vision Impairment, and I work for Worcestershire Children First for the Sensory Impairment team. So today I'm going to be talking to you about supporting children with vision impairments in the early years settings. So this webinar has been pre-recorded, so if there are any aspects that we haven't covered or that you've got any other questions, you can contact the EY Inclusion at worcestershirechildrenfirst.org.uk. So the aims today, we're going to talk about vision impairment, what it actually means. We've got top 10 tips for creating a vision impairment friendly environment, how you can refer into the team, the support that parents will receive and the early years settings, and our contact details. So what is a vision impairment? A vision impairment is a reduction in affecting the child's or the young person's ability to access the world around them. It's a visual issue that can't be corrected by glasses, and there are many different types, which I will just touch on in a moment. But every child's vision is unique to them, and they're going to have specific effects on the visual functioning, which is unique to them. So the support that they receive will be very individual. Okay, so just touching on a few different types. Nystagmus is an involuntary movement of the eye in search of a fixation, sort of fixed point. The child might have a blurred image, they might have difficulty with tracking and clutter within a page. So there are lots of strategies we can support with nystagmus. And when the child is tired or ill, it might be more obvious and they might have more blurred vision. With cataracts, this is a clouding of the lens, so they might have a loss of definition when they're trying to see something, and extra sort of photosensitivity along with this. With glaucoma, there's a buildup of eye pressure, and they might find that they have sort of little patches of vision that are lost when they're seeing and struggle to see things clearly. So just looking at the sort of structure of the eye, there are so many different parts to the eye. It's a very sensitive part of the body. So any areas like the cornea or the lens, where the light is coming in, hitting that retina, and the information needs to go through the optic nerve to the brain. Any parts of these are damaged in any way, then the child might need that extra support in order to access the curriculum. So just looking at physical indicators that a child might have a vision impairment. If you notice any of these, please do contact us. It might be that they have unusual or rapid eye movements. They might be rubbing their eyes or shutting their eyes more regularly, covering up one eye. They might have an unusual head posture. They might be sensitive to light. They're sort of squinting and blinking a little bit more. They might hold any objects or reading material closer. They might complain of pains or itching, aches in the eye, possibly hand-eye coordination issues. You might find that they're having difficulty copying from the board, or that they're sort of tripping over a little bit more, apprehensive in unfamiliar environments. These are all different indicators that something more might be going on. So top 10 tips for creating a vision impairment friendly environment. These are all really, really useful things to do, but particularly for a child with a vision impairment. So having really good lighting in the setting, but also having blackout blinds so that if there's a lot of glare from the sun, actually that can be supported. Having a clear room layout, trying to make sure that there isn't lots and lots of objects on the floor. So again, sort of might cause a trip hazard, and letting the children know, obviously, if you change that layout. An interactive whiteboard, the contrast is vital between the background and the writing. A really good contrast is a light blue background or a light yellow background with black text, so it's really clear. And this might avoid the glare from a sort of a stark white background. Resources, enlarging the print, having clear contrast between, again, the background and the text, taking away that busyness, that clutter. Thinking about the access and safety, that changes of level are indicated, resources are well labelled, and steps might be highlighted so that you can see that that information with if they've got a problem with depth perception. Giving a clear verbal reinforcement of the task is really important. You might find that those sort of non-verbal gestures aren't seen at a distance. So do check that a child has heard and understood the information with careful questioning. Allow a child to sit at the front of the group and always make sure that the light is behind the child rather than yourself, because you might be in silhouette and they won't see your facial information as clearly. Using a black or blue pen on a clean whiteboard, discarding faded pens. This will again give that really good contrast and clear vision. Allowing extra time to complete tasks, and that the time for processing information is vital. And then lastly, just having those high contrast resources. So having a red plate maybe on a yellow cloth just makes it really clear to see, rather than a red plate on a red cloth. You can't see it as clearly. And it can be camouflaged. And then equipment being really bright and vibrant outside can also support a child. Okay, so if you would like to have us involved and you want to sort of think, is the child actually going to be able to be seen by us? Our criteria is a diagnosed or suspected vision impairment from an ophthalmologist. So it's not correctable by glasses. So we will accept referrals from health, from settings, parents, but having that parental permission is really vital. So once we've had the information, we'll start building up our sort of vision assessment around that child and the support that's needed. We use NatSIP, which is the National Sensory Impairment Partnership criteria, and that decides the level of support that the child would receive. So how could you refer a child? So you're welcome to contact myself through the sensory impairment team email there, and there's also the phone number. Do obtain the parental permission. That's really vital, because then we can access medical records and make sure that we're giving the support that they need. Then on the referral form, fill in as much information as you possibly can, again, to build up that information in the background. And then a qualified teacher of vision impairment will make contact with the school and the family and start to carry out those assessments. And then at the end, we'll write a report outlining needs and sort of recommendations and the level of support we would give. So support for parents, what would we do? So you would be contacted by a QTVI who would do a home visit, and would build up those assessments at home, actually sort of seeing how they would use their vision. We might give suggestions about toys and different play techniques, the skills that might be needed, those early visual skills that are vital. And would again provide more information really about the child's vision impairment, just to sort of support yourself in that understanding. We might even introduce the developmental journal if that's appropriate. We might attend clinic appointments or look at nurseries with you. We would then give advice on funding support, maybe networks or agencies that might help you. And we'd liaise with the professionals that are involved. And then we would write a report sort of outlining all that information and that future support that we would give. So for settings, again, you'd be visited by a QTVI. We would be assessing the functional vision, so the day-to-day vision, and look at how the child is actually using their vision. We would end it obviously with a report, but we'd be looking at monitoring and evaluating that access and inclusion, looking at curriculum adaptations that might be needed. We might do a report specific for an annual review, and attend meetings and look at the EHCP support that's needed. We might give advice on equipment and low vision aids. Again, liaise with sort of that multi-professional team. Train staff on specific needs of that child. We might do peer awareness training to make sure that everybody involved has that understanding. Mobility and independent living skills support training might also be an area to be looked at. We would do transition support, so when they sort of eventually go to nursery, excuse me, or into school, and teaching pre-braille and tactile skills might be an area that's needed for the child. So here are our contact details. Mel Boxall is the lead for the sensory impairment team, and I'm Claire Bradnock at QTVI. So if you'd like to contact either of us to get more information, then those are our details. And then finally, the early years inclusion team contact details at the end. So please do get in contact, because the most important thing is that if we can give support of any sort, we want to make sure that we're there for you. So please do give us a ring or email us. Thank you very much for listening.